Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and in today's video, I want to talk to you all about Doom Raid. I want to talk to you about raids in general, and I want to talk to you about why Doom Raid 3.5 has been an awful, failed experiment. And what I mean by that is that, as far as I'm aware, now, full disclosure, I'm not in the top echelon of alliances, nor do I talk to that many people who are up there, but I don't think that there are that many alliances, if any, really, that are farming Doom Raid 3.5. And why this is a problem, but also why I think that they're just gonna skip it. I think it was designed solely to milk whales. I don't know how successful that was or not. We're gonna talk about exactly what I mean, and why I think that we're actually closer than we think when it comes to Doom Raid 4 coming out. So, if you want to know more, then you know what to do. Let's boil this down. Okay, let's start here, and obviously I haven't even joined my own Doom Raid yet. I should get on that after I finish this video. So, Doom Raid. Let's talk about that. So I'm currently running Doom Raid 3.2. It's funny because in one of my previous videos, I was talking a little bit about game burnout and things like that. Some people were suggesting it's my raid difficulty or that I should be doing more, and I'm not. And it is what it is, actually. Once the full Death Seed team is formed, I plan on taking the Alliance a little bit higher, maybe at least a 3.3 farming. But, I want to talk about... Actually, I can't see it here. So I have to actually click on the Doom Raid thing, the Doom Raid 3s. And I want to talk about... Or maybe I can't. or can I? Hold on. For Doom Raid, the difficulties. Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to get at. Was difficulty 3.5. Okay, and you can see here with the different difficulties, like the requirements, right? And so for... Actually, I don't remember what normal is. I think it may also be blue 3. But anyways, it's been blue 3 all the way through all of the difficulties. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. And then all of a sudden, right, it jumps to blue ISO 4. And when this came out, I mean, I guess maybe people thought that there was going to be more blue 4 ions being chucked at us than there is, but I don't think there's like anyone really in this. I'm not gonna say anyone because I don't know for a fact, but I'm telling you that like barely anyone, if any, is actually doing this difficulty. And it's because of obviously the requirement to have blue 4 ions in Apocalypse for the Apocalypse characters, and then the overlapping raid characters. There's like almost none, with the exception of Death Seed is the only overlapping raid characters. I'm pretty sure you could probably get away with Morgan Le Fay in Mystic and some Gamma, but I mean Gamma's not a true raid team, right? In Bio. And that's really about it. So there's not a lot of overlap here. So barely anyone is doing this. But I think that maybe that Scopely was trying to convince the whales or the Krakens to buy into blue 4 ion offers. That way, maybe they'd have an excess. But anyone who's putting their ions into this rather than... It has to be an alliance-wide effort, right? I mean, you can't just have like 2 people who have their raid characters at blue 4 ions. It has to be literally everyone. So that's why I call this a failed experiment, because I don't think anyone is ever reasonably going to reach there. And even if they kind of open the floodgates a little bit on the blue 4 ions, I really don't think it's going to be to the extent that people are going to all of a sudden start putting it into, 15 other, or whatever, 15 to 20 other characters outside of Mutant, towards getting their raid team up to blue 4. I don't see a world where that's possible, because based on how much we're getting now, they'd have to literally give us 10 times the amount for that to even be a reasonable consideration, and that won't happen anytime soon, that's for sure. And so where does that leave us? Well, let's take a look at what do you even get for farming Doom 3.5 compared to these other people who are doing 3.4, for example. So really not much. Right, you get like an extra elite teal orb. Great, that for those people who are already doing 3.4, that's probably like nothing for them. It doesn't constitute the difference between upgrading to blue 4 ions. And then, where I'm at, obviously, like, I could do a little bit more. I'd be getting more teal elites, and that'd be great. I should probably get to 3.3 at some time. I don't think I really want myself. I don't think I want to farm 3.4. I've heard some pretty miserable things about how difficult it can be in power core usage and things like that. So that's not really on the cards for me. But I just don't think that this is on the cards for anyone. 3.5. And so because that's the case, and let me know if I'm wrong in the comments down below. If there's any of you watching who have done 3.5, please let me know, because I'm genuinely curious. Like, actually, because I haven't really talked to anyone at all who is. So if there are alliances, maybe it's in the top 5, I don't know, who are running 3.5. I've not seen any videos on it. So, hey, maybe I'm wrong. And I don't think that that's what they're going to be pushing towards. I don't think that they're wanting to push towards trying to get people into 3.5, to do 3.5. I think that Doom Raid 4 is probably around the corner. And how I want to highlight this a little bit is, now I use this chart a lot. This is my character spreadsheet, which I use for a variety of different things because I have data from patches and character releases, things like that. And we can talk about when Doom Raid 3 came out. And Doom Raid 2, for that matter, and we can kind of look at the difference between Doom Raid 2, Doom Raid 3, and when I think Doom Raid 4 is going to come out. So if we zoom in a little bit here, this is patch 5.7. This is the Weapon X patch from end of September 2021. I know, it's been a little while now. So this was when the patch came out, and this was when the level 85 cap was raised. This was also the introduction of Doom Raid 2. And so this was meant to be a kind of precursor to when they released the November patch, which brought out Dormammu and Dark Dimension 5. That's why the cap came out first. The level cap went out first before Dark Dimension 5 came out with the release of Dormammu, which I believe was like in the latter half of November anyways, for when Dormammu actually, they opened up the gates to Dark Dimension 5. And then down the line, we went a little while here, and we're still running Doom Raid 2. And actually, what's interesting to note, though, is actually, now that I want to go back a little bit, is, the raid teams that were released in the Doom Raid 2 era. How many raid teams were released in the Doom Raid 2 era? Now, you could say that, Cersei and Icarus, they kind of compounded with the New Warriors, that a lot of people were running that for a long time, until anyone else came out. It was New Warriors plus Cersei and Icarus. So you could say that this was a new version of the Mystic Raid team that came out here. And then we had the obvious Web Warriors that came out in December, or across December and January. And so that was for Bio. So we kind of had Mystic and Bio now sort of covered here. And then nothing really else. There was some more characters here. And then we had the introduction of Morgan Le Fay in March, April. And then we had A-Force, and then Unlimited X-Men. And then we had the second half of the Unlimited X-Men patch, and this was the increase to level 90, and this was the level 90 Gear 17, what we have now, actually. And that was the introduction of Doom Raid 3. And so there was like I said, like 1.5 raid teams released between Doom 2 and Doom 3. At this time, we were all complaining about how trash and how crap the tech lane is or was prior to the release of Bionic Avengers. And then, of course, one patch later, we get the Bionic Avengers. And at this point now, we're still, I don't personally have any problems with skill in Doom Raid 3. I know some other people, especially in my alliance, have problems with that. And, maybe it depends on the higher difficulties where there's RNG factors. But now we're at the point or we have been at the point, I guess, where Mutant was kind of trash, Astonishing X-Men was kind of trash. And now we have, a couple of patches later on, 1, 2, 3 patches later, we're here at patch 6.6 with the release of the rest of the Death Seed team. In what order, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be something like this, and then we have Archangel, and then the Rebirth team down below. It doesn't really matter. I haven't really updated this yet. And so the fact is that there's been this time gap, and now it makes me wonder, well, okay, what's the time difference between Doom Raid 2 and 3? So if we go back, then we had, what was it, end of September, right? Okay, so October, November, December, full months. And then January, February, March, April, May, and then June. So about 8 to 9 months, when Doom Raid 3 came out around this time. So if we take that now, from middle of June, then that's July, August, September, October, November, December. So reasonably, we could probably see Doom Raid 4 in about March, April time, which means it's not long after, because this winter patch is going to be lasting for the full breadth of December and January, because last time the patch was on February the 2nd after the winter patch of last year. So it's possible that Doom Raid 4 could be announced over this winter patch, that it might be on the horizon, but also because that it could be on this patch here, could come out sometime in February, or they may relegate it to the March patch. Either or, we're not far away. And so what does that mean for the other teams? Are we going to get a new bio team, or are they going to be the next kind of struggle point? At least there's some fillers in with Gamma. I think that skill is probably going to be like the next addition to raid characters, because even though I'm not personally having any problems, I know that when a Doom Raid 4 comes out, they're probably going to be power crept enough that they're going to need some help. And so I think that's what's on the horizon. And why am I talking about any of this at all? Is mostly because I've just been trying to find things to do, right? And that's what I'm kind of trying to look for with, some of my other videos that I did where, I'm talking about what I want to do with my roster. And that's where I'm currently sitting at. I'm going to build Death Seed without a doubt. And for me, I enjoy raids. And I guess the question is what else they need to do with what you're given. And I didn't mean to go into my roster there. The raid store has felt a little bit lackluster as of recently. Maybe with the addition of Crucible, people think that there should be a little bit more. Now, obviously, that's the only way where we're going to get Teal Elite Orbs, and this is for G17 minis in here, and so what they're probably going to do is they're going to add more Teal Elite Orbs, but this could also be the precursor to, I don't know if G18, I don't know if that's necessarily on the horizon, but it does feel like that's a possibility, because they have actually been releasing this at the same time as a level cap increase. So the Doom Raids are actually all in conjunction with a level cap increase, which means that Doom Raid 4 could come along with a level cap increase of 95. Well, I got a bit lost on my spreadsheet here. So if that's the case, G18 level 95 could be the next big thing, and it could be closer than we think, and it could be in the spring, or it could be around the time when Apocalypse is supposed to be released. Now, why would they do it that way? Well, that's probably in preparation for the next big thing, whether or not that's going to be not Apocalypse, I don't know, Kang the Conqueror, Galactus, or something like that. Or if they pivot back to an old similar Dark Dimension style, where now we're talking about Gear 18. I would think it's a bit weird, though, because Gear 17 is not required to unlock Baby Apocalypse. So for them to go and jump from, say, Gear Tier 16 as a requirement to Gear 18 as a requirement for something is quite hefty. So, I don't know. They might go along with this for a second time, for a second character, for better or for worse, and we'll have we'll have a lot of time to discuss those kinds of things, especially as it relates to Gear Tier 17 and Gear Tier 18 prospects. But nonetheless, I believe that we're going to have a level cap increase around the corner. And so we need to be prepared for that. I don't know, whatever people do to prepare for that, gold, training modules, and all of that. But that's how they're going to release the floodgates a little bit on the Gear 17 minis, for better or for worse. They're going to have a lot more releases on Teal Elite Orbs out of that. And I also want to say that they're probably going to scrap the requirements for Doom Raids being Blue 4. Unless they give us 10 times, 10 times the amount. Sorry, my voice is getting a little bit raspy. 10 times the amount of Blue 4 ions. There's just no chance in hell that even in March, that are we going to be considering Blue 4 ions on raid characters outside of the Death Seed team, right? And I'm sort of pivoting back a little bit. So when they release Doom Raid 4, I am going to guarantee, I'm giving you a pretty sure bet, I think, that it's not going to require Blue 4. They're probably just going to say it's Blue 3. Unless they literally chuck it at us like candy. It's just, they don't want to bar entry into a new raid. Otherwise, nobody is going to engage with it. And it's content that is going to feel gated, unnecessarily so, which this difficulty 5 is. Because, again, I don't know very many people or anyone at all has talked to me about doing it. So, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are about the possibility of Doom Raid 4 around the corner. I say around the corner, but frankly, after the winter patch, it kind of is around the corner. So, within the next few months, and the level 95 cap increase. How many characters do you even have at level 90? I have some, I guess. I have probably 20, maybe. Let me know that in the comments down below and what your thoughts are, because I'm interested to know. Also, please let me know in the comments down below or DM me on Discord if you have any experience with Doom Raid 3.5, the blue 4 ions, because I sure don't, and I don't know anyone who has. That's the end of this video, and of course, until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.